Advocates has to give the title report, architect need to get the approvals done, he has to give the quarterly report in the various format that has been prescribed. The engineer need to verify with the engineering degree, and then he has to also give the estimated cost of the project, how it is implemented, every time how it is getting executed. Then the chartered accountant need to verify the books of account, certify what is the money that invested towards the land cost, what is the percentage of the project completed, how much is the land cost and construction that is involved. So the cycling of the money or the discipline which is missing in the regulatory sector, and that has been ensured to the financial discipline. At the time of a project, the promoter need to give an undertaking that he will put 70% of the money received from the allottees in a separate designated account in a scheduled bag. And the bag, the responsibility is cast from that bag, that not to allow the withdrawal of that money unless until these three professionals do certify the status of the project, how much is the money that has been invested, and only to the extent of proportionate completion of the project, that is the money that can be withdrawn from that RERA designated account, so that there is a controlling. Without the signature of these three professionals, architect, engineer and chartered accountant, 70% of the money that has been put in a designated account, the bankers cannot allow it to be withdrawn. What it does mean? It means that it is a responsibility of the banker not to issue a check which will be issued by the promoter. The allottees money, the trustee as a banker and these three professionals, unless until they certify, get confirmed, then only they will allow it to be withdrawn from that account. And how much money that can be withdrawn? To the extent of the project completed, which means the money that has been invested towards the land cost and the money that has been invested in the approval, invested in the completion of the project. Look at the way the discipline has been made. The regulatory authority, that's a RERA, will also look into the progress, as I said already, and if there is any red flag, yes, they can make them accountable and responsible. The next comes, there is an adjudicating officer which has been placed, who will determine if there is any loss cost to the allottee or an aggrieved person to the compensation that need to be given for the loss income. If these two are the regulatory initially, and then it looks at, is the RERA sufficient or is the adjudicating officer is sufficient? Possibly it may not be, because there can be error on that. So to make them accountable, responsible, check their irregular practice or something, taking them on the board, so there is an appellate tribunal. Appellate tribunal is the last fact-finding authority, which is a judicial body with minimum 2 people. One judiciary, high court judge, retired, will be the chairman of that, and there is a accounting member, or I would call it as an administrative member, and who will be either IAS officer or having experience in the sector, and that is appointed as a technical person. So at least minimum 2 people have to be there in a bank to hear the appeal, and those have to be decided, implemented within a time frame of 60 days. Yes, thereafter the regulatory authority also has been given power to come out with the regulatory systems or the mechanism, issue the guidelines, circulars, directions, and number of power. And any aggrieved person under section 31 of RERA can absolutely apply for adjudicating, deciding, saying that something is gone wrong or not. The question arises, as somebody said, what is the purpose of this regulatory system? What is the purpose of RERA? The only purpose is to give justice and protection to the end beneficiary, that's the consumer. Now how it is in the regulatory system has been ensured. One, registration project, I understand. Real estate agent also brought into picture, so they don't give some rosy picture and then the accountability is not there, so the intermediary is also included. Having said that, the project, when it is started, you have to have a land title. It's all project based registration and approval, so naturally the project has to be registered. The more than 30-40% is the land cost to be minimum. Then there is an approval cost, at least another 10-15%. That means more than 50% is already invested. Without the skill of the promoter and with the proper approval, with the complete blueprint of the layout, amenities, what he is going to promise, what is the area of the carpet area of the project, how he will be completing, all this will be there. having said this all are there, the question comes, how is that protects the allotee? Having invested more than 50%, but you are taking 10% from the allotee, 70% goes to the RERA decision account, but immediately if you want to take more than 10%, the agreement has to be duly stamped and registered, which means the promoter has invested more than 50%, but by taking 10% from the allotee, you want to get his agreement registered, title to be transferred under the Indian Registration Act, and the buyer who is buying is always aware, public at large, that project or that particular apartment or a plot or the building which is getting sold to the end consumer is getting registered in his name. So that means it is available for the public domain to see that that is not getting sold second time. Now, can it be cancelled that easily? No, it cannot be cancelled because the title is already transferred to the allotee with the 10%. More than 10% you have to receive, it is to be registered. The next question comes, how it is monitored further and how the allottees are empowered. The allotee is empowered with an obligation on the promoter that the allottees, the way under the Factories Act we know, or the various manufacturing entity we know, there has to be recognized labor union. Why labor union? That should not be taken for a ride. Ultimately, the factory, the laborers are putting efforts. There has to be negotiation table. There has to be platform. So there is a recognition of a trade union where more than 50% of the laborers are part of the union, and that is getting recognized. Here is the situation where the allottees are scattered. They are at a different platform. It is the duty of the promoter who has created a title in them. More than 50% is sold. Bring them together, give their contact, and then register an approach allotee and recognize them, and then give them the power so that they are also able to monitor, see, and collectively they can book, make accountable that promoter and even the allotee under section 31, whether it is registered or otherwise, can make a complaint. Even an allotee with the authority given by others, he can take authority and on behalf of the collective body of the allottees, he can file a complaint collectively as a class complaint can be filed. That is a power that is given. So that means the promoter has to do it. It is the job of a promoter. The question comes, how it is accountable and responsible? Yes, the accountability and responsibility ensure that minimum 10% penalty, and the penalty can go up to 30% of the cost of the project. Cost of the project. A project which was not registered in Maharashtra because it was a housing society, they were misconceiving that housing society is not liable because we are registered under Cooperative Act. A penalty of 2% of the estimated cost of the project, that is 300 crore was estimated by the authority, and 6 crore was levied as a penalty to a housing society which did not register. A promoter like Pyramid Group, a big project registered with RERA, advertised in the newspaper saying that ours is a registered project. A RERA number was written in a small letter. A Times of India advertisement in the front page, but the number of RERA was written in such a small. Imagine 50 lakhs penalty was levied on that. That means the penalty ranges from 10% to 30% of the cost of the project for the violation that is committed. And it's a criminal if any of the orders are not implemented, and the arrest warrant can be issued, and Gujarat has got a civil prison made in the RERA office, and the power that has been given is not less than the civil code. And but yes, I do understand there is an onus on the professionals, it is an onus on the promoter, it is onus on the stakeholders to make it happen, make implementation as possible, and that is what we as the stakeholder, is a body of the promoters. I am on behalf of the allottees and the professionals. We advocate it, we go and create that awareness. So let us take an onus as the chamber, which is of course 127 years old, and I am really compliment that within the press time, they said half an hour you give us, so that we also want to understand, get into insight, and can this regulate it. I just say that people are saying, promoters are saying, West Bengal is, the authority is not serious. Let me tell you, authority is serious, government is serious or not otherwise. Supreme Court has been very serious. and they have made direction not to West Bengal, across India, that within 3 months of the implementation of RERA, they said all the authorities should be permanent, and Supreme Court is keeping clear watch. Today, Supreme Court also has come out with the guideline saying that there should be uniform buyers builders agreement across India, so that there is no manipulation of whatsoever is taking place. And therefore, I am saying there is another judgment which you should look into, is the celebrity judgment of 330 page passed by the Honorable High Court Bombay at the instance of the Supreme Court, that is this Nilkamal Reliable Suburban Private Limited versus Union of India, writ petition number 2737 of 2017. Each of the sections of 92, 10 topics, rather 10 chapters, were challenged by the 40 different professionals body, that is promoters body across India in different parts of India, which was pulled by the Supreme Court, and then that was transferred to Bombay High Court, saying that within a time-bound manner of 2 months, they should decide about the constitutional validity of the project, constitutional validity of the law, where under ongoing project, where there is a completion, they should be registered, 70% has to be put in, without the professional signature should be allowed, and believe me, a project which is not complete within a time frame, the RERA can take over the project, and it becomes an obligation of the authority to get the project completed by selling the remaining unit in consultation with the state government, giving the first right of refusal to the allotee to complete the project. That is the strength of RERA. I will just give you one small case study. You will understand. Have you heard about Mehul Choksi? If you have not heard, at least tell me that you have heard just now. Nirav Modi is there. Yeah. These are the people who promoted a project of 150 flats, each flat costing around 2.5 to 3 crores, 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom in Mumbai, and they collected 80%, 40% is completed, 80% is the amount collected. You can imagine they ran away from the country, but project was attached by ED. Out of 150, 100 was sold, 50 was unsold, and there was an attachment of the municipal corporation for not paying the tax and premium. There was a complete seizure of the property. But we could bring the allottees together by various media report and the channels help, and form an association allottee, go to RERA, impress upon them, in spite of the fact that it's an ED attached project, BMC Common Authority attached project, we could get it an order saying that yes, the association allottee can complete the project. And we took it, completed it, and today, with the help of all these, people are staying there, water connection, gas connection, everything is there. That is the power which is given to the allottees. What I mean is, the way we have IBC, which says it's a creditor who has a control over the business. If the promoter is not able to have, that is a status given by IBC under IBC law 216, same way 2016, same way. Here is a RERA which says the allottees are the equity holders in the project, and because of the allottee and for them you have done it, and if you have performed, failed to perform, it is the associate allottee who will step into the shoes of the promoter, take over the project, get it completed, and it is the RERA who will see that, monitor it and complete it. Are you with me? That means the section 8 of the RERA should be looked into and seen minutely. It says it's an obligation on the authority. It's an obligation. We have seen the obligation which is cast on promoter, we have seen on the professional bodies, we have seen on the various other stakeholders. But here is a law which is casting obligation on a banker. It's casting obligation on the RERA. It's a casting obligation on the various stakeholders, including the Common Authority, to see that the transparency and the trust building exercise is done. Here is the person, Advocate Salo, who was just discussing today about REIT. REIT is another place where the transparency and equitability, and because of the RERA it can happen. And there is a GST law which also looks like the RERA has the main framework wherein the real estate projects are getting defined, and there is a income tax, there is a various Common Authorities getting integrated, and registration department is getting integrated, approval department is integrated. Believe me, I don't know how much you can take it from me. Believe me, the RERA is going to make a system so robust, and the earlier entry the businessman who wants to really do the business should not hesitate into getting into regulated, because it is only the RERA registered project which gets the Swamipman. It is a RERA registered project which gets the financing. It's a RERA registered project which can make advertisement. It's a RERA registered project which will get the disbursement of the home loan. And you want to do the real estate business and you don't want to get registered with RERA, I think it's something, doing a business in a hiding atmosphere. Can this be tolerated? We as a stakeholders, we as a professionals, we as the merchant chambers, commerce and industry, I think we need to take that on us, and I really compliment for doing this, and I have got many things to say. I can only share with you, and if you think that yes, this is a sector which we look into, we have jointly with other professions. Where is Pinky? Yes. So there is a book which we have written. There is a Maharashtra RERA, where it is more of a state, and Arun Dasgupta is also part of that. Arun Agarwal is also part of that. We did 4 days residential course in Hyderabad, where 63 participants across India, 15 authorities from across India came, sat there for 4 days continuously, morning 9 o'clock to evening 11 o'clock presentation, 11 o'clock to next morning 2 a.m. The discussion group, 10 groups were made, discussion was done, subject was awarded, it was represented before, and we came up with this research book, and this has got 81 chapters divided into 10 parts. 360 degrees of the RERA can be looked into: GST, income tax, insolvency, bankruptcy, consumer code, PML, everything about RERA and real estate. I think one can look into it, because it is 90% of the subject of the book is on real estate, 10% is with Maharashtra RERA. So you can look into it, take the help of this. It is available in the online taxman. Similarly, we have come out with the, of course, with Karnataka RERA. I request the chamber, if they can take a little bit lead and get such type of publication done, capacity building can be done, more and more awareness can be done. I think that is where we will see the sector, because you and I being the stakeholders, we cannot leave it to the government. It is the stakeholders who have to see that the implementation is proper. People are saying, sir, government implement nahi kare, ye nahi ho raha, wo nahi raha. Yes, hum kya kare? Let us work. Let us, I always say, let us have 4A. What are those 4A? Let us start creating an awareness. Having said that awareness, can we start getting appreciation? The moment I started creating awareness, I have started acceptance. I have started receiving appreciation. That is, whether it is today's association of corporate advisors and executives, the chamber, and across, tomorrow I am going to Solapur. So, can you and me be an ambassador to take it forward, create an awareness, start appreciation, let the people start appreciating this initiative of the new RERA, and then the next again comes very important thing is they start accepting. See, any regulatory system or the law cannot be popularized and implemented unless until there is awareness, appreciation and acceptance, and then achieve the end result, that is a protection to the investor, protection to the stakeholders. Protection involves everybody. So thank you very much. This is all I have with you, but maybe 5 minutes, give me more. We have up to, so 5 minutes, I'll just run through the presentation that I have made so that it will be shared by the organizer with you. Where is that? Can you, yeah. So I'll share the, yeah. You can just open the presentation that I have prepared, so that it should not happen that you are not going with any notes. So you should have that notes. So let me look at, there are no doubt 53 slides, but let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See, this is the regulatory law, from the generalization to the specialization. General Contract Act, Transfer Property Act specialization, Stamp Act registration is the outcome of Transfer Property Act, Land Revenue Code is a land, country and town planning of our development controls, Cooperative Housing Society to bring people together and own the land collectively, ownership of flats where the promoters, builders were controlled, consumer protection is a curative, all this keeping together, the existing law continues. There is a RERA which will have the prevention and control. These are the various government intervention in the real estate which has made it more challenging. Whether it is a demonetization, RERA, IBC, GST, Finance Act, NBFC crisis, many times investors have left. Can we bring back the investors into the sector? How can it be done? That can be done with a lot of liquidity in the market, and for liquidity we have REIT, we have investment REIT, we have small and medium size REIT, and there are so many things which is getting implemented. So what was the working of earlier? There was a missing of an enforcement mechanism. There was a traffic rule, but no hawalda. What will happen? There is no constable who will check, but there is this missing, and this regulatory system has got a regulator monitoring the everything, the competent authority who gives the approval, there is an adjudicating officer who gives the compensation for the loss caused to the aggrieved person, and the appellate tribunal to keep a check on them. And then of course, as a next step, we have functions of RERA, which has an administrative function, registration of a project, and judicial function, redressing the dispute, advisory to advise the government what should be done to promote, so that today there is a Amitabh Kant, you must be knowing, that is a Nidhi Aayog chairman. After retirement, he was given a responsibility to see. There are in Maharashtra, we have nearly 9,000 projects which are stalled out of 43,000 projects registered. And there in UP and other states where there is a stalled project, is a concern, ongoing project before 2017. So a dedicated committee was, you can imagine the seriousness the government is doing, and then it has been said that unless the project is registered, the funding, Swami Fund, other things cannot come, and that's how the advisory role is there, and the executive. That means any order you pass, it should be executed. So execution, including putting a person behind the bar, is the power which is given here, attaching the properties, recovering the money, the power that ED has also been given to. So it's not that only ED has the attachment power, it is the RERA and appellate tribunal who have that power. Only thing, to what extent they are implementing, to what extent they are serious about implementing, is a question mark that need to be looked into. Regulatory system, of course, as I said. Registration project is the consultancy which is available for the professionals, and giving advice and compliance. There is a financial discipline, withdrawal is regulated through these professionals. Over and above, there is an audit once in a year. Another chartered accountant, separate chartered accountant, professionally independent, having a certificate of practice, need to audit, and these are all in the public domain. And then redressals. Next three is a complaint redressal, filing a complaint, appeal, and transparent and trust building exercise with a lot of regulatory mechanism, consumer oriented approach. A registration project which involves the public at large has to be registered even before marketing. Ongoing project within 3 months from the date of implementation of RERA, and of course there is some exemptions which are given. Less than 500 square meter, less than 8 units need not be registered, or completed building completion. In West Bengal, in Maharashtra we have OC. If the occupation is issued, it is exempted. But in Maharashtra, in West Bengal they said there has to be completion certificate over an occupation certificate. Then only it is considered as a completed project. Otherwise, it requires registration. Even a project which has issued a OC but there is no completion certificate ongoing in the year 2023 requires compulsory registration even in West Bengal. There are exempted projects where there is a renovation, repairs, and there is no new allottees, they need not. Complete transparency about the site of the layout, amenities given, proposed layout, approvals, and the declaration from the promoter that 70% will be put in the RERA decision. Registration of project has to be given within 30 days from the date of what you know as within 30 days from the date of application. If there is any issues, of course they can resolve it and they register, otherwise deemed to be registered. And the project registration, when the time is given under the declaration by the promoter, and if it is not completed, you can demand the extension of a project for a period not more than 1 year. Having said that, you need to give a reason, and it is up to the authority to give an extension or not. Otherwise, the authority can take over the project and complete the project. And to have a regular update, yes, there is a login password given. On the basis of the complaint and the basis of the information, a project can be cancelled, revoked by the authority, and take over the project. The consequence of revocation of the project, that 70% of the money, whatever is lying, comes to the account of the RERA, and promoter will be debarred from accessing that, and the project will be given to the authority as a first of right of refusal to get them completed. If they don't complete, it becomes an obligation on the promoter, or rather authority, with the help of the government, to get it completed. In the regulatory system, there are hardly 18 sections, which gives lot of mandate, and therefore we need to look into regulatory system which casts obligation. Section 1 and 2 is, as I said, is a preliminary with the definition. 44 definitions are there. A project need to be registered before selling, marketing, selling. Each of the advertisement material need to have the RERA website address, RERA number, upload track record, give the project details on the website, give an undertaking, 70% goes in the RERA account, and withdrawal is possible only with the 3 professional certificate, disclose of the detail, and then found the society more than 50% is done, liable for damages for misinformation. If the information is not given properly, then you can liable for misinformation. I can give an example. If you have heard of Bombay Dye, biscuit and all that, good day, they are also into real estate, Bombay Dye. What they did, at Vadala, there is a center of the Mumbai, prepared a project of 530, this one, they were the owner of the land. They gave a project saying that you pay 2 crore today, and 80%, that is 8 crore you pay at the time of possession. Number of chartered accountant business people thought that it is a good opportunity because we have to put 20%, get the return on 100%. It is like a good option. And then after the project is completed, you sell it, get the appreciation on 100% of the cost of the project, and pay 80% and take. So that was the project, and it was more than 150-200 chartered accountant invested in 530. But it was done in the year 2011-12. But as you know, because of so much up and down, the prices of 10 crore project slowly came down to 6.5 crore. When the project was completed in 2018, these investors said, I want to come out of the project, give me money back. You give me 50% of what I have done, so that by taking 50%, 1 crore, they will be able to get the same project at 6.5 crore. So 1 crore is adjusted, or 2 crore is adjusted, and remaining. So there was no appreciation, but there was a depreciation of the asset value. But will anybody agree? They did not agree. The matter went to the appellate tribunal, either RERA to appellate tribunal to the Honorable Supreme Court. None of them had an agreement, registered agreement. It's all in the public domain. None of them had a registered agreement. The end result is that even the Honorable Supreme Court upheld that there was miscommunication in the advertisement. They said it's all tentative. That tentatively we will give December 2017 a portion of the project, but it was given in August 2018. The Honorable Supreme Court said nothing doing. Whether it's a tentative or otherwise, the prospectus says that you will give the portion in 2017, which you are not given. So they are entitled to get 2 crore, and for 10 years at the rate of 10%, another 2 crore. So everybody got 4 crore return from this, and putting another 2.5 crore, they got the house. That is the power investor protection given in this RERA. And of course, matter had troubled, and I have taken about 30 allottees up to the Supreme Court. We have seen that. Similarly, there are other things. I am not getting into it. Made accountable, responsible. Register the agreement. I said 10%. Then added to the plan. You cannot. Twin City was demolished in Delhi. What is the reason? Because the approval was taken without the consent of the authority. Some illegal construction was done, and the promoter not only lost the entire building, he was made and liable to pay the allottees the entire money invested along with the interest, and that you can understand the risk that is carried. And added to the plan, any changes need 2/3 allottees consent. 2/3 allottees consent is to sell the business. Without consent of the 2/3 allottees, without the consent of regulatory authority, you cannot sell. Take the insurance of the title, take the insurance of the building, transfer the title within 3 months of the OC or the completion certificate to the authority, so that the promoter cannot retain the title. Last is refund the money if the project is not complete in time, along with the interest, and write-up is given to the allotee that if the project is not complete in time, he wants to continue the project, the liberty is given to the allotee to continue the project, but they will also get the interest, compensation, interest at the rate of SBI plus 2%. That's also regulated put into system that MLRC, marginal cost of lending rate of the SBI plus 2%, the penalty that is payable the moment you cross the date of delivery. For example, 31st December 2023 is the date of possession. You are not given even 2024. It is nearly 1 year. So the investment of 1 crore you have put on that minimum 7.5 is the MLRC plus 2%, 9.5% interest. You will get for a period of 1 year till the possession is given. That means you are going to get acquisition of the property. You also get the interest on the investment that you have done. That is a protection, required compensation. The system business practice has not changed of the real estate. What is that? Register project, disclosure, utilization of the fund, promoter responsibility, register agreement, right and duties of the allottees is defined, consent of the buyer is required for modification, defect liability. A project which is given, if there is a defect, that to be done, real estate agent to be registered, business process has changed. Look at, this needs a professional help. Legal and regulatory compliance. People may take it serious, do not take it seriously. Believe me, if a person is not taken seriously, not only that he lands up in paying 30% of the penalty, he will also lose the entire project. So that's why one has to be very careful if one is doing a business of RERA, real estate. There is a regulatory mechanism, there is a planning and designing, sales and marketing has to be done in an appropriate finance and accounts department, construction and quality assurance, grading has come out, and so many quality assurance. And impact of successful transition from non-regulated to the regulatory sector, we as a stakeholder, let us take it. There is a mechanism of 70 and 30 which I discussed, and these are various certificates to be done before we withdraw the money. And these are some of the calculations which you can look into. This is 10 chapters. What is the most important chapter is section 1 to 3 is a definition. 3 to 10 is the registration of estate agent and regulator, which we discussed. Functions of the or duty of promoter 11 to 18 is again we have discussed each of the sections, and 19 is the rights of the allottee, where he gets the refund, he gets the possession, he gets the interest, and of course duty is to pay the money in time, otherwise get the agreement cancelled. The rest of the chapter number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 you don't read. It's all for the regulator to read, understand and implement. These are all how the RERA will function, how appellate authority will function, how advisory council will done, appellate tribunal will function. The chartered accountant, cost accountant and advocate, of course company secretary is given the section 56 of RERA, the power to appear. These are some of the judgment, constitutional validity, legal validity. It's 330 judgment. You need to see each of the provisions of the RERA has been upheld, directed by the uniform agreement by the Supreme Court. There is a Supreme Court judgment of West Bengal, became famous. There is a forum for people's collective effort, none other than the person of West Bengal. You may be knowing Upadhyay. Yeah. What is his first name?
Arun.
No, Abhi.
Arun Pugari. No.
Yeah. Anyhow, so we have from the Forum for People's Collective Efforts. Abhay Upadhyay is the person. Spearheading. This is from the West Bengal only. Went up to Supreme Court and got the order that even West Bengal need to have repealing of HERA, Housing Industry Regulation Act, and replaced with RERA. Of course, the Parliament is supreme and need that promoters where some of the things have been discussed. Thank you very much. I think you should get into it. And I can say that CS were also on the RERA leader. RERA means Maharashtra Regulatory Authority. Why? Because they were not doing the work which is required to be done. And there is an architect body which was taken to the High Court of Bombay and made accountable responsible for giving a false certificate of completion of the project. And therefore, even the regulators have started questioning, taking disciplinary action against the chartered accountant and the professionals where show cause notice has been issued. You cannot take it lightly. There are offences which has got a penalty from 5% of the cost of the project up to 30% of the cost of the project for each of the penalty. And as I said, there is a criminal action which can be taken. These are some of the projects. This is a slide where I had an offer to be at Rashtrapati Bhavan in the year 2012 when Maharashtra Housing and Regulation Act came in, and where we are representing, we have that required approval of the president, she being from Maharashtra. We saw that and she wanted, I was fortunately 3 days guest there, explaining the importance of RERA, and then after the central government also was quite impressed, and then of course they thought that the RERA should be made as a central act rather than allowing the Maharashtra government to take the lead and becoming a pioneer, and then other states follow the central government. And therefore you will see section 92 of RERA says Maharashtra Housing Regulation and Development Act 2012 was repealed. So these are some of the books I had presented to Rashtrapati, and I was so thank you very much. These are all my personal comments, nothing to do with the your organizer. Don't make them accountable and responsible and say that Mr. Prabhu came on your behest and did something. So these are all my personal. Don't make this chamber accountable anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu, for a very nicely presentation of the RERA. Now